Well, hello everybody. Now, how you guys doing today? It's your old hillbilly buddy Leo out here on the prowl again. Got a story for you guys today. Little bit unusual. Before we get into that, I am out. I got, as y'all can see, I got baby out today, out on the trails, and I am up on top of Death Rock. And I've brought y'all up here before for other stuff. You know, brought you up here for the legend of Death Rock, and you know, brought you up here for several other things. Just brought you up here for pretty sunsets and snowstorms and things. But it's like I said, this is my hometown right here, Williamson, West Virginia, and this is Death Rock. Now, I brought you up here to tell you guys, like I said, to tell you a story. Now, this one's a little bit unusual, even for us. Now, before we get into this, I thought I'd mention a couple things. First of all, I got a tooth pulled yesterday. So if you'll bear with me and look over any slurred speech that I do, I'll try my best to not drool on the camera. Deal? Okay. Another thing. The video that you're about to watch deals with some interesting, we'll say, subject matter that if you're probably a little bit squeamish, you know, if you're easily offended, just saying. Thought I'd throw that out there before we got going on the video itself. Anyhow, I do believe that since we got the beautiful swing right here, these are called Almost Heaven swings, and I think there's 9 of these around the state of West Virginia, placed in prominent locations, and this is one of them. Like I said, this is my hometown. We just live on the other side of that mountain right over there. But you can come up here, and if you scan that puppy with your phone, it'll give you directions to the other ones. But anyhow, let me go get comfy here and tell you guys a story. That's a little bit better. A little more comfy. Kind of kick back and tell you the story. Now, here we go. As most of you know, we normally do stories that are in the Appalachian area. But when we started the channel, we had no plans to only do stories in our area. We always planned to travel someday and do stories on whatever just grabbed our attention as we went along. The Hillbillyfiles was meant to imply our hillbilly lives, whatever we decide to do and adventures we go on, and not just our own backyard. Of course, we will always focus on the Appalachian area, but today we're going to go about as far from a hillbilly as you can possibly get. And about as crazy as a sack full of cats. Okay, wait. Full stop. Hang on. This is future Leo, guys, from about 30 minutes after the video ended. Wanted to point something out real quick right here. When I just said that, crack a little joke. The weird thing is, you guys aren't going to get that joke for a few more minutes into the video. It's like trying to decipher the multiverse from a bubblegum wrapper. Anyway, back to present Leo, and back to your story. Just Copy, bud. Hey, yeah, bug, all right, February, yeah. Okay, yeah. Hi, everybody. This is future Leo. And give me just a second. I'm talking to future Leo. Yeah, I can appreciate that, you know, you're trying to, you know, put stuff in the video that you feel is relevant and all that stuff. But I can't have you interrupting the videos like that anymore. You need to stay in your own lane, dude. Okay. Hang on here. Hang on. This is future Leo. And I'm talking to future Leo and future Leo. All of y'all need to shut up and let Leo tell this story. Shut up. You'll get that joke in a minute, guys. We like to watch any kind of real history, so it's probably not going to be that strange that Heather has been working on a story from New York City. She'd been trying to locate a particular grave for a while, and she finally found it. She was able to finally find a grave for this person and bring this story back to life once again for you guys. She brought it to my attention, and I thought, well, it's one of the wildest stories I've ever heard. I mean, it really is. The main character in this story is truly a real-life Cruella de Vil. Okay? But in real life, it was cats, not dogs. Not 101 Dalmatians. It was basically 101 cats. Now, her name is Catherine Fearing Strong Wellman. But she went by Kate or Puss. P-U-S-S. Puss. To her friends. Now, the first thing you'll notice about this picture is the cat on her head, right? But that, believe it or not, is about the 50th thing wrong with this picture, and you'll see why in just a minute. Kate was one of the players in what was called the Gilded Age of New York. Now, before we begin our little story, I kind of need to set the stage for you guys just a little bit. It had some very, very rich families and some serious drama, as you can imagine. Constant contest to see who can throw the biggest party or own the fanciest mansion. In East Coast society, in the years before the turn of the century, there was just one woman who determined who was in and who was out. Mrs. Caroline Astor ruled the Gilded Age of New York. I'm sure that most of you have heard of the Astor family, and of course most of you have heard about the Vanderbilts too. Well, the Vanderbilts were new money and deemed not worthy to join Caroline's little club. The Vanderbilts were not a part of Caroline's hand-picked, rich and famous 400, as they were called. Vogue called the Vanderbilts nouveau riche. No matter how much wealth the Vanderbilts amassed, the Astors remained unimpressed. Until in March of 1863, when the Vanderbilts threw an extravagant fancy dress ball. Alva Vanderbilt made it her mission to bring the Vanderbilts into what she thought was their proper place in society and onto the 400 list. Her first move was building a French chateau-style mansion designed by Richard Morris Hunt at 660 Fifth Avenue at 52nd Street that literally overshadowed all of the other homes that line the avenue. as grand as the mansion was, the ball, which served as her housewarming party, was even grander. On March 26th, 1883, Alva threw one of the most incredible parties that New York City had ever seen. With her access to seemingly endless amounts of money, she used every resource available, including the power of the press, by inviting journalists to come in and preview the decorations before the ball began, to build excitement and make it bigger than any ball that had ever come before it. Alva used what was possibly the simplest weapon in her arsenal to gain admission to the New York 400. Good old-fashioned manipulation. And that, my friends, is where Kate Fearing makes a debut that would go down in history. Kate Strong was born on February 28th in 1851, on my birthday. She was born to Charles Strong, a rich and powerful attorney in New York City, and Eleanor Fearing. On a side note, Charles' mother and sister both died at sea when the ocean steamer that they were on hit another French ocean steamer, and almost everyone on board drowned. So anyway, Kate grew up very wealthy, very spoiled, and very much used to lavish things. At some point, Kate married Captain Arthur Nelson, who was from England. They stayed married until his death 1 year before her. But on all census records, they seem to not just live in different houses, but also different countries. Him being in England and her in New York City. So, in 1883, Kate was around 30 years old. She got an invitation to the Grand Vanderbilt Ball. She planned for months on what to wear. Cost was no issue. But she had to stand out and be noticed. So on March 26th of that year, she made her grand entrance. Kate, who Henry James described as youthful and precocious, went as her nickname, Puss, somewhat disturbingly, even wearing a blue cat choker that said Puss with a little cat bell on it. That seems harmless enough, but it didn't stop there. Her entire costume consisted of real cat parts. Seven cattails were sewn onto her skirt. The overskirt was made entirely of white cattails sewn on a dark background, commented the New York Times. The bodice is formed of rows of white cat's heads, and the headdress was a stiffened white cat skin with the head over the forehead of the wearer and a tail pendant behind. Wow. What is not known is how this dress was sourced. Another strange thing is that it was not frowned on by the public, as it was a different time and apparently no one cared about cats. Either way, this photo will live forever as the strange dead cat outfit and the ball that changed New York's upper society forever. But how did she get the cats? Was this little rich lady out there herself? Common sense would say no, right? Now think about this for just a second. There's no way she's out there sourcing these white cats, right? That's common sense. What she had to do, I find it's just hard to even say it, let alone comprehend it. She had to have people roaming Manhattan looking for white cats. I mean, the only other option, the only other alternative to this is all of these cats simultaneously went to her house and then all died together in front of her house. If anybody believes that one, feel free to go ahead and comment below. I'm sure I'd love to hear your theories about how that happened. So like I said, I mean, just imagine this. She has to be out with people roving the entire area, stealing everyone's white cats to make this dress. Do you see the Cruella de Vil tie-in yet? Now, yeah. One of the other odd costumes was Mrs. Cornelius Vanderbilt II's representation of electric light. It was an electric dress, which even had a torch that lit up thanks to batteries hidden in the dress. The dress is actually in the museum's costume collection, and you can see it as it looked on Mrs. Cornelius Vanderbilt that day. Most contemporary sources put the cost of this ball at approximately $250,000 back then. Guys, that's nearly $6 million in today's money, including such costs as $65,000 for champagne and $11,000 for flowers. It was extravagance at its finest, and it worked. Newspapers across the country reported the most minute details and complimented Alva's taste and her class. This is not to say that there wasn't some backlash to the ball. The New York Sun Times published this very stern article criticizing the excess when there was so much suffering in the city. But by March 27th of 1883, the Vanderbilts were at the top of a brand new New York society. And it changed the course of many of the things that obviously have a butterfly effect on life today, as all things do. Kate's dad passed away in 1897, and within 10 years her mom, her husband, and then her were all gone. Kate passed away in Manhattan at 56 years old of unknown causes, but her grave had been lost to time since then. But y'all know Heather. She kept searching until she finally found a news article that said where she was buried, and she made a find-a-grave for her and some of the other family members, which we'll link below if you guys want to stop by and leave a comment or just check it out. Basically, I'm just glad that that people don't support animal abuse these days, but unfortunately, you can't change the past. The cats are dead, and the dress from the 101 Dalmatians, was actually a real thing. Now, I'm guessing that some of you are just about as confused by this as I am. But I guess you have to remember that it was a different time, different people, they thought different things. I mean, to us, that just sounds just so incredibly insane. Could you imagine something like that these days? To actually source an entire outfit from cats. The whole story to me is just absolutely bonkers, man. This is nuts. But it's an actual story. If you guys liked our story, we would certainly love to hear from you in the comments below. And if you liked it, we'll continue on and we'll tell you some more stories that aren't necessarily hillbilly, but are definitely interesting. Anyway, guys, from the top of Death Rock, just outside Williamson, West Virginia, my little hometown, this is Leo with the Hillbillyfiles. We will see you guys next time. Have a great day. God bless. And Leo out. See you guys.